Then we counterattack and we don't get a free man. And this is what I showed you at the beginning, where we're coming down the pool like this. We don't have a free man here, and we end up down that end like that. I immediately move this person. If they can't get the ball here right away, now if they get the ball right away, one pass, back in, boom, right away. 2 seconds. If they don't get the ball right away, they clear out, and we have a space in front of the goal. And this is where I want my quick strike. The defense is probably still in a press, unless they just come right back into their zone. So the defense is probably still in a press. This is a great time to attack. So number one thing, clear out this area. Second, run a drive or screen from somewhere up in this area up in here. Any one of these 4 players here. You can even run it, go in from the wing if you can beat that person. So that any one of these, the ball's over here, any one of these 5 people here can drive in. So this is my quick strike, and this is, again, in practice, you would say, you'd start the clock when the ball turns over here, you start the clock, okay, you got 15 seconds to create a shot. You have 30-second shot clock, you have to create a shot down here in 15 seconds. They gotta make a decision how to do it, where to do it, when to do it, run a screen, run a pick, run a one-person drive, run 2 drives, whatever you wanna do, you're gonna, and again, if they shoot that ball, and in this situation, you want a fairly decent shot on the goal. You don't want to take a huge chance, because when you're on the counterattack in this direction, it's easy for the other team to counter you in the other direction. Maybe you say you're over here in the wing, and you take and the defender, the goalie's right there, you're not going to make that shot. So you have a reasonable chance that you have a chance to make the shot, But at the same time, you alert the rest of the players that there's going to be a shot taken, so you're ready to go back on defense if you have to. So what we've done here is we have one front court offense here. We have another front court offense down at this end, okay? And we have one counterattack. And then you would stop down here just for a second or two, make a quick correction, a few words, don't delay it too much, and have the team that was on defense down at this end, they are on defense again down here. So you have the same team countering. You might do that 10 times in a row. You do that 10 times in a row, that's 20 front courts and 10 counters. Instead of just running 20 front courts and sitting there and doing it over and over and over and over again, which is a fake situation anyway. This situation down here it's already set up. So this is really the real situation down here. So at least you're creating out of those two of these front courts, this one here is a real game situation. That one is not quite, but you have to start somewhere. But if you just do 10, let's say you do 10 front courts in a row without any counters. Okay, you've done 10 front courts, but again, perfect situation. Everybody's set up in their 3-3 or their half circle. Everything is perfect, and it just doesn't happen that way in a game. And you don't get any conditioning out of it. So here you've got 10 counters, all out, game situation, counterattack, you're getting conditioning out of that. So not only are you getting front court, you're getting 10 conditionings out of that, or 10 counters. You can do the same thing, you can do 20 6-on-5s. You have them counter down, start at this end, go on anything, counter down at the other end. You call a kick out wherever you want. You can call a kick out in the front of the goal, outside the perimeter. You can call a kick out of the counterattack. So you're gonna get a 6-on-5 down at this end. So again, you do 10 of those. You do 20 6-on-5s. Oh, I already got that written down. 20 6-on-5s, and you've got 10 counters. So here you've got 20 counters, you've got 40 front court, either front court or 6-on-5. And you get conditioning out of it, and you get to practice your front court, and you can create any situation you want at either end. For instance, what I will do here at this end is I will assign a number, or not a number, their hat number. This is number 10, this is 3, this is 6, 7, 4, and 11. Okay? So they have hat numbers. So we're starting in a stationary position here. Okay? I'm standing up here on the side of the deck, I will call out 4. When all 12 players hear me call out 4, they all take off down the pool, except for number 4. He just goes underwater for a couple of strokes. So what I've done here is I've created a one-on-nobody counterattack. This is for number 4. I call out 3. I'm going to create, number 3 goes underwater, he's the center. I create a 6-on-5 counterattack. I can create 5-on-4, 3-on-2, whatever I want in that situation when you get down to this end of the pool. And so this is a way where they know somebody's going to be free, but they don't know where. So they got to find the free man, because they're not looking at everybody's number, so they don't, the only person that really knows who 4 is the person that's guarding number 4. But he's going to be taken off anyway. So in this, that's one way to create a counterattack in the other direction. Now, if you want to work on, let's say you want to work on not having a free man. Let's say you want to have a free man at this end. I mean, you don't want to have a free man at that end. You want them to create a free man. Then you just start out 6-on-6 here, and you don't run a front court. You just blow the whistle. So you blow the whistle, and they take off down the pool, and they're going to be, it should be even up, unless somebody really screws up, because they're starting out even up. So they should be even up. Now they get down this end of the pool, they're even. They have to create a situation. This is why we do the 15-second rule thing. You have to get a shot on the goal in 15 seconds. And they have to do all these things. They have to clear out, they got to drive, they got to set screens. And if they don't get a shot off in 15 seconds, blow the whistle, turn around and go in the other direction immediately. So if they don't score in 15 seconds or get a shot on the goal in 15 seconds, then we turn around and go in the other direction. So this is a way you teach them how to be creative, and this is my quick strike attack, my aggressive play. I want to get a goal down this end before the defense is ready. So this, I would say I did this, we're talking about counterattack. We would swim, well, you can ask Marty, we would probably swim 500 and like 20 sprints, at the beginning of practice. And that was pretty much it. Once in a while we'd go 750 or 1,000. Maybe we'd go 10 50s and 10 25s or 10 50s and 20 25 or something like that. And with a little rest, we'll get into conditioning later. And that's all the swimming I would do. And but we do, by using this kind of drills, by the way, you can go down and back, like in a game. You go down, and as soon as they shoot this in, boom, you got to go back on anything. Again, you're going anything in both directions. So you're doing a two-way counter. So we would do about 50 counters a game, or a practice. Then you add counters in the scrimmage. You're going to scrimmage for, you like the scrimmage like a good half an hour. So you're going to have counterattacks during the scrimmage. So you're going to do 50 or 60 counterattacks, and that teaches them how to react without thinking. They have to go every time. You don't want them looking back. You see this all the time. I mean, I saw, who was it that played, they were, by the way, this is something that I like to do, is I like to go into an M zone. The Italian M zone, which is like this. You're playing in gaps up here. You're fronting the 2-meter player. And now, the reason I'm playing an M zone is I want my players to counter these two guys right here. Okay? So I think it was Irvine. They were in an M zone. And the ball was shot from like over here somewhere. Or this person shot it from somewhere. The ball was shot. These two defenders here are sitting out there, and their job was to just go on the shot, and both of them, the shot was taken, they both went, and they turned around to see if it went in the goal or not. I was, why are you doing an end zone? If the other reason you do an end zone is to keep the ball out of 2 meters, by the way. We'll get into this when we get into defense a little bit. But that is the worst habit of any of water polo players, is that looking back to see if it went in. And you're on defense, you know, and so you gotta teach your players, what does it matter if it went in or not?
Referee will tell you something.
Yeah, the ref will tell you, they'll blow the whistle and it'll be a goal, right? And besides that, you could take a couple strokes and you, as you're swimming, you could look back to see if it went in. So you wasted 2 or 3 strokes if it did go in, you know? And they say, well, what about the rebound? It's good. Yeah, I don't care, this is where I take a chance. I'm gonna go anyway. Maybe it'll be a rebound once or twice a game that might go back to the other team, but the other teams, they're going down the pool too, so the chances of that aren't too high either. And I ask players, we do this one-way counter, if we get down to the other end of the pool and I'd say, hey, was that a goal down at the other end? And the guy was on defense down there. I said, was that a goal at the other end? And he goes, yeah, it was a goal. And I said, well, how do you know? He said, well, I looked back. Oh, okay. See, he looked, that's the first thing he did was look back, because he was, or if it wasn't a goal, he looked back and he knew it wasn't a goal. So you don't want him reacting on that. You want him reacting on the shot or the turnover. You can also do things like leaving early. You can create free people there. Again, when we get into our defense, we'll talk about that. When to leave early, how to leave early. For instance, in this end zone here, it's getting down 2 or 3 seconds left on the shot clock. You know, somebody's going to have to shoot the ball. Just take off. One person takes off early. So, yeah.
Have you watched Sleepy Hollow play at all?
No, where are they from?
They're NorCal. It's a newer club. They actually they lost in a shootout to Vanguard last year in the finals at 14s. They aged up to 16s.
What schools are they?
It's Matt Swanson runs it. He was the goalie for UCLA back in the day. It's up in like I want to say it's like a Marin County area.
Right.
It's a newer club.
They go by Shack is what they.
What's that?
Shack is what they go by.
Yeah, Shack is their like acronym. And it's a newer club. And like I said, they almost beat Vanguard last year. They aged up. They run an M, and it's the most freaking for 16-year-old underage group, the most disciplined M I've ever seen in my life. And we played against them over at the Cap 7. Right. And they just smoked us out there with that defense. They were so disciplined, they were so long-lived. We talked about earlier. Typically, you know, when we're trying to crack it, and you'll drive in like a wide cross and try and overload. They were just, it was like a matchup zone, like Syracuse running basketball. They were just handing guys off. And if you tried to get backdoor crack, they would just get in the lane and take it away. I couldn't believe how disciplined they were running this defense, because I always thought it was just like super gimmicky. But they were. Well, you know, the Italians invented that because they would bring in a Serbian to play 2 meters in the Italian league, and there's no Italians couldn't handle him, so they had to front him. And then they were good on the counterattack, so they had to do this. But the secret to the M is if the other team practices enough, they can beat your M if they have enough time. They have to drive. The secret in the M is to play it in the last 10 seconds of the shot clock. So they don't have time to run all those little plays, drive across the goal, and all that kind of stuff. And if you get yourself in that position in the last 10 seconds, and then you get in a position where if the guy knows that he shoots it in that last 10 seconds, that you're going to take off in the counter, then he's kind of going, oh, wait a minute. Or somebody does take off, and he's going, now what do I do? Do I shoot it? There's a player going by himself down there at the end of the pool. So, we'll get into more detail on that, but I love the end. I would do it all the time. I wouldn't do it. There are teams like this team that you talked about. They can do it for the whole 30 seconds, but that's a long time to keep doing it. Especially if maybe at the high school level you play a team that's never seen it before or hasn't had a chance to practice that. But if you play them the second time and they've had a chance to practice it, there's ways to beat the M. But if you do it in the last 10 seconds, it's much like I brought up the Syracuse matchup zone.
Yeah.
Teams can beat it if you get enough practice time against it. But if you run it well enough, there's times when if you have a good goalie and there's long-limbed defenders and they're disciplined on it, it's tough to really crack it.
Well, and if a team's disciplined enough to run an M zone, their whole defensive possession, I mean, from the start of the game, they're probably defensive enough to press if they need to. You know,
they literally off of each sprint, even the opening sprint, instead of sprinting the ball, they just went right to their zone. And I'm watching and go, what are these guys doing? And I think they beat us like 13-2. And I mean, literally, we just couldn't crack this damn zone.
Well, because a lot of times the high school kids get into a zone and it's like, oh, I'm obviously open.
Yeah.
And then they just start hacking up shots and.
Okay, let's. I was talking about counterattack. Counterattack, yeah. Where's my?
Leaving early.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so there are times if your players are smart, they can leave early. If they know they have to know the situation, they have to know the time on the clock. If you're in a situation on defense where you know the other team has to shoot the ball, you can leave early. Or if you're, let's say you've been pressing and you're pressing some guy way out here, and this guy drives in, he's right here in front of the goal, and the ball's right there, you know, and the clock is running down, 2 or 3 seconds, you know, he's gonna have to shoot the ball, and you're out here, there's no way that that player there is gonna be any kind of a threat, they're not gonna have enough time. So there's situations like that, you can leave early there. You can leave early perhaps off of a wing when there's only 2 or 3 seconds left, especially the right-hander's wing over here. You take off down the pool, and that person has to get the ball, move in towards the goal. They're gonna run out of time. So these are all, smart players can do that, and you have to teach them how to do it too. And you get in a game or a practice situation, and you know, you say, okay, right there, you could have left early. You can plan it, you can plan to leave early, and I'll show you when we get into the defense, how we can actually plan and actually have somebody leave early on purpose. They don't have to think about it, you just, okay, if you're in this situation, you're gonna go. So, and that leaving early like that really puts pressure on the team that's on offense, because they don't know what to do. They don't, I know a coach, in fact, Brian Critchkamp, at Sacred Heart.
I played for Don Stahl and he lived off of this.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's where Brian got it. But he would, they just run a regular defense. And what they would do is anytime in the front court, this defender here would drop off here like this to keep the ball from going in 2 meters. This defender here would come over there and he would foul him, or he would just come over there, press him, make him pass the ball. As soon as he passed the ball, boom, he would take off down the pool. And they did this with 20 seconds left in the shot clock sometimes. And Stahl used to do that too?
Yeah, well, his rule was 7 seconds or less. If you're at the 4 spot,
Yeah.
you're gone. And he had done all the math that you were going to score more goals
Right.
on the counter
That's right.
attack than they were with 5
Yeah,
seconds on the
you're
shot.
giving up a shot here, but you're gonna score more goals on the counter than they are, yeah.
But
And-
you're giving up a shot that you know you're giving up. Your goalie should know you're giving up.
Yeah.
Your goalie should, you know, it's one of those things.
Yeah, and you know, they score a goal or two on that, but you know what, most of the time, they're gonna have to wait until you cover up if there's a good team. I did this with a high school team, men left, and we were losing to Bellarmine. Bellarmine's a big power up north, and we were losing by 6 goals at halftime. And we did this, we just took off early like that. Anytime, anytime the ball went here, we would come over, knock him down, make him pass the ball, and then we'd just go. And we went from 6 goals down to tie the game doing this. And the other team never adjusted. They just kept shooting the ball. And every time they shot it, it helps to have a pretty good goalie in that situation, but every time they shot it, our goalie would block it, and we'd have a free man at the other end. So after we tied the game, their coach finally called the timeout. It was Larry Rogers, I don't know if you guys know him or not.
Oh, yeah,
And so Larry finally called the timeout, and he's, you idiots, why are you shooting the ball like in that situation? So, and they eventually beat us by a couple of goals, but you know, it was pretty neat to watch it. And Brian would do this anytime, not just with 7 seconds left, they would do it just about any time. And he had, if you have a really good goalie, you can, you know, account for that. And just real quick on this too, is you also, in this situation, you're taking off on this guy down here, and let me see what we have a defender's back here. This defender here can kind of go in between like that. This defender can drop in here. This defender here can drop in a little bit, and you've got. Here's your shooter. This is the person you want to shoot, especially if it's a right-hander, and you've got that covered. You've got, this guy can put his arm up, this guy can put his arm up, that takes away that shot like that, okay? This defender here that's dropped in can take away that shot right here. You put the goalie right there, and that shot has to go like there. And so if you got a fairly decent goal, they can, and as long as this person doesn't have time to just walk it in and walk it in and walk it in, you know, they can get all the way to the three and take that shot, then you're in big trouble. But, so the timing is a big deal on that. But you really, and this is what you do in the M also. And then, a smart team will say, okay, this guy here will tell this guy, don't shoot, I gotta go cover up. So he'll go down and he'll cover. So we end up, now he's covered up down here, then this guy goes. You can have that defender go. And now this guy will say, don't shoot, I gotta go cover up. In the meantime, this guy runs out of time. Or else he's just sitting there going, what do I do? Do I shoot? He's nervous, you know, and it puts a lot of pressure on somebody. This is a great defense. It really works. It would probably work at the college level too, but it definitely would work at the high school level. And yeah, it would. Yeah,
I've seen enough JUCO water polo to know that would work.
yeah. So now we've covered defense, but there's other things we want to do too. But just a couple more things on the counterattack. So what you're creating is you're creating a mentality. Counterattack is physical and it's also mental. So you're creating a mentality, and it gives your team a real advantage. That you're saying, okay, we're in better shape than the other team. We're gonna wear down the other team. I keep using Chip Kelly with his Oregon, and that's what they did. They wore down the other team by this fast-paced game, and they won in the fourth quarter. And that's the mentality we had at Stanford. And it got to the point where teams were afraid to play us, or they were afraid to shoot the ball. They were afraid to do a lot of things because they knew every time they lost the ball, we would be countering them, and we'd go all out. The one game I remember played UCLA. We went to 8 overtimes, and in the 8th overtime we won on a counterattack goal in a sudden death type of situation. So, and then you're also creating the mentality of going every time, and going every time. So when I first started doing this, I'd have there'd be a shot on the goal, and 5 guys would go, and this guy over here would not go. The 6th guy wouldn't go, and I want a 6-man guy. So everybody takes off to take 2 or 3 strokes, and I blow the whistle. I say, wait a minute, you didn't go. Well, that's creating a bad situation, and you want them to react. If I blow the whistle every time they react and one guy's doing something wrong, and I stop everything, then they stop reacting, and they stop taking off down the pool. They're going, God, every time I counter, the coach is blowing the darn whistle. You know, it doesn't do any good to counterattack. So they stop doing it. So if you want to make a correction on something, wait till they get down to the other end of the pool and they finish what they did down there, and then you make a quick, fast correction. Not a long speech, just a very short correction. Tell them what you want them to do the next time to correct what they did wrong. Just real quick with that. John Wooden, again, was the master of this. So again, it's a mindset, it's a habit. So these drills, it's physical conditioning. It's also mental conditioning. So you're doing both at the same time. What you do in front of the goal, what you're trying to do, you would like to have. I call this the front line. This is the back line back here. I want my counter to come from the front line. And the year I told you about, at my last year at Stanford, where we held the other teams to 4 goals average per game, we got a lot of counters off of the press and playing the lanes. We got a lot of counters off of that. And then we got counters. If you can be in a press position when the other team is getting ready to shoot the ball, you're going to get counters from here. If you're in a zone, it really hurts your chances of getting counter. If you're in a zone, your counter is going to come from the 2-meter guard, the wing guard, or this wing guard over here. Then you're going to have a 4-on-3, 5-on-4, 6-on-5 counter. A lot more. It's very difficult to score on those. So what we're trying to do is get a counter from up here, a one on nobody. So, and that's what the purpose of our defense is. So we want a front line. So now what do we do when we get down to the end of the pool? You give them general rules. You don't tell them where to go exactly. Like on a 5-on-4 counter, a lot of teams will run a 4-2, and they'll say, you go here, you go here, you go here, and you go here. I don't like to be that structured, and a 4-2 doesn't work too much anyway. So I just have them go down the pool, I tell them, keep some space between you, but remain a threat. So let's say you get down the pool, and you're like this, one of these players has the ball, you know, space between you, be a threat. So in other words, this player here doesn't go out here. Now you got two players here, there's no space between them, one guard can guard both of them. You're not, and then if that player comes out here, this player goes out here to the side, all of a sudden the player here is not a threat anymore. So you gotta remain a threat, remain somewhere in that general area. And then if you don't have a free man, then you clear out this middle person, and then you run a screen or something from out up on top, out in here. So, and these are very general concepts. I want to get the ball deep, again, on that first pass. A lot of teams don't want to throw the ball to half. I definitely do not want to throw the ball to somebody on that side of half court. In this area here, the goalie has the ball. You do not throw the ball to anybody there. I tell my goalies, whoever you throw the ball to has to be past half court. And if you can't get it down here to this deep wing, then throw it to this person here, or this person here, and let them throw it down to the wing. Or you don't even have to throw it, get it down to the wing, but that first pass I want here. This is something you have to teach guys how to do this. The first person down has to go take over to the wing, and then you gotta take a stroke towards the goalkeeper. If you just go down to the wing and sit there, the defense slides in front of you, you can't get the ball there. So you actually have to release for the ball. Now, but that's my priority, is to get the ball as deep as I can, and then get the ball to the free man, or you create a free man. Now, here's what happens a lot. Sometimes the person will come down the middle, go out here to the wing, and here's the defender here, and then this person here also swims down, and they swim down right to this area right here. Okay? Now, so my goalie tries to throw the ball to this deep wing, and the ball lands somewhere in here, and this defender here comes over and gets it. They're just too close together. So I want my front line to go down, all the way down to the 2 or 3, and I want my back line, this guy here, this guy here, this guy here, to kind of go down like that. You kind of funnel down the middle, so it looks something like that. Not that close together, but, you know, about like that. What I don't want is this player here over here. I don't want that. So by funneling down the middle, they're funneling down the center. And they can run screens here, they can run drives from here, and I just don't want them to stack up. We call it stacking up over here, or even here, stacking up like that. It's just too hard to get the ball out there. So, another, just general rules that you give them. I don't know if you even try to score when you have a 6-on-5 counterattack, but I would make it as simple as possible. And a lot of people, I know the Italians do this. Everybody down here has a position they go to. So here's the hard thing. A lot of the European teams are running a 4-2 when they have a 6-on-5 count. But you got 3 guys here. Okay, that's easy to get those 3 guys down there. You got one of these back line people have to go all the way down and go to this wing. You know, it's just too far to go. It's really hard to run. And then you're bringing the ball down here, and this guy goes and shoots, and he misses, and then the guy that was trailing goes in the other direction. And you got a 1-on-nobody in the other direction. And what you're hoping for is this wing would peel back, and this wing would peel back to cover up the free man going in the other direction. That's a long ways to go, from that wing to this wing, all the way back. So I would make it as simple as possible if I had a 6-on-5 counter, and I would just go a 3-3. And I would run a 3-3, so let's say the ball is coming down the center here, and the trailer's coming back here. We're going in that direction, and I would move this center player over here to the post. Now, we've opened up this whole side of the goal. Okay, and this player coming down the center here, keeps moving, moving. If he gets attacked, he throws the ball either to one of these two players over here. Okay? Either way, one of these players is going to take the shot. He walks the ball in from here, takes the shot, and these two players peel back to cover. It's a lot easier to cover back from here than it is to peel back from the wings over here. So again, keep it as simple as possible. Just clear that person out of the way and take the shot. This is one place where you have to be a little careful on taking the shot, because if you have a 6-on-5 in this direction, they've got a 1-on-nobody in the other direction. Okay, counterattack defense, real quick. I want to press the ball, no matter what. I don't want to have to worry about pressing the guy on the side of the pool, fouling, and then dropping into the center and helping and all that. If you press the ball, I learned this from Ratko Rudic. Some things that he did, like with the swimming, I really didn't like, but some things he did, I really did like. And I learned some pretty good, especially defensive things, but this is one of them. Press the ball immediately on the other team's counterattack. And you keep pressing and pressing. Trying not to foul. The Europeans are famous for making that deliberate foul. And what they do is they come over and they foul and then push the ball away. And so they give them some time, you know. But then now they have a new rule. If you foul in the back court on the other team's counterattack, it's a kick out. So that's kind of slowed that down a little bit. But I want to press the ball, and then I want to press the next ball, and I can play bait the passing lane. I don't want to be in front of him. I would bait the passing lane and then jump in front. That's a fairly, let's say the ball goes from here to there, here to here. So I would maybe even challenge the pass from the goalie. You know, I could be like this, and then when the pass is made from the goalie, I could jump in front and try to even make that steal. So you got to decide if you want to try to go for that steal or not. Again, you're taking a chance, but the same philosophy as Stoll had, that you're going to get more goals by playing the lanes and trying to steal the ball, and they're going to get. It's like in football, you know, if you jump in front of the wide receiver, the ball's thrown over your head, he goes down and scores a touchdown. Well, it's not so bad here. It's only one goal. It's not 7 points or 6 points. So, but you figure you're going to get more out of this, and even if he does beat you, he's still got to go all the way down the pool. So you're taking a chance, but the benefits you're going to get from this outweigh the bad things that happen in the other direction. So I'm pressing the ball, and I'm staying in the press, and I'm going to front 2 meters. Okay? And I'm going to front the wings, or at least play here. Okay, so I want to be in that position here. I don't want them to be able to throw the ball to the wing. If you're fronting 2 meters, if you let them throw the ball to the wing, they can throw the ball inside here. Okay? In this situation here, if they want to throw the ball in there from outside, the ball's going to go over the top and land in here. My goalie's going to come out and steal that. Okay? Because the whole men is sitting like this, and the ball's thrown over their heads, they got to turn around and get the ball. In the meantime, my goalie's going to come out and steal that. So this is what I want on the counterattack. Front the wings, front 2 meters, press the ball wherever the ball gets passed from here over to here, you press that guy, and you're pressing the whole time. Okay, that's my counterattack defense. And I'll go over later what we're going to do on regular defense what happens after this. But this is my counterattack, and this really works. And
So you don't give up pressure on the ball even if there's somebody beat mid.
yeah. And here's my reasoning in that you're not going to, 99 times out of 100, you're probably not going to be in position to help back anyway. You know, so I would rather press and just press long enough so that we can catch up to if we're beat somewhere else in the pool. But to try to, let's say the free man's right here, you know, and you're over here, to foul that and then come back, by the time you come back in there, this person's already gonna be past you. So it doesn't, you're better off pressing the ball. Now, the caveat of this is you can't foul. You can't foul, yeah, because it's a 30-second shot clock. Every time you foul, you're giving this person a free pass and you're stopping the clock. You want the clock to keep running. This is where it kills me when referees call that foul automatically. So this is you have to avoid that foul. And the last time I did this was 2002, and it was my last year at Stanford, and this is when we had the really great defense. And back then, refs were not calling that automatic foul. We were allowed to press. And now, you swim up to a guy, and he's holding the ball. You put one hand on his shoulder, and you go one hand like this, and he drops the ball, it's a foul. I mean, it's crazy. It just drives me crazy. If we could do anything to get referees to change that, I would.
They have to know how to read.
Yeah, I know, that's true. Yeah. It's not a foul, that's right. Yeah. So to try to avoid that foul is you've got to show both hands. You can't come in like this, and you can't be like that either. You have to, the ball's in the air, going to that person, and you're playing just a little bit off of them. You don't want to be too far off of them anyway. And so you have to be within a stroke or two. And as you go at them, you gotta go in like this, high hands, using your legs to get on them, high hands, and if you want to put the ball, your hand in the ball in the water before you get to them, to take one stroke, you can do that. But as soon as you get close to them, both hands have got to be up like this, and you've got to use your legs to keep pressure on them. And that's not ideal, but you have to do that to avoid the referee making that call. If the referee still makes a call when you're like that, that's even more ridiculous.
Takes the yellow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, the yellow, red. I mean, you know, it just drives me crazy. And you know, it's really hard to go over to the referee. I mean, you want to yell something out. How is that a foul? You know, if you want to yell it out right away. So, and when you have a timeout or everything, you go over to the ref and say, you know, you're being nice. That's not really a foul. You know, and you really shouldn't be calling that. We're trying to press. We're showing our hands. You know, and so you try to be nice about it.
And that's when they pull out. Well, coach, he was sinking with the body.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
So basically, you're telling me I'm not allowed to play defense.
Yeah, right. I've heard that expression, sinking with the body.
Yeah, that's, I teach my girls, because girls really panic when you just brush or kick, just swim at them as much as you can.
Right.
And so that's what I teach in the press. And coach, she's sinking her with the body because her chest is on her shoulder.
They go to a special clinic where they learn all these terms.
Yeah, well, you know, it's called holding. The rule is hold, sink, or pull back. How do you hold, sink, or pull back with your body? You know,
And by the way, that's a picture.
maybe sinking.
You don't have to know how to
Maybe
read.
sinking might be in there. I don't know.
I mean, if I'm like up and over the top of you,
Yeah,
if
okay.
I'm on your shoulder and I'm just swimming,
Like that,
swimming,
exactly.
and they let go of the ball and you can drop.
Yeah.
Singing with the body, coach. No, it's not. No, it's not.
But at the very least, they allow. If you do have a hand like that, and they drop the ball, they give you time to put your hand up. You know, it's just an automatic call. It just drives me just crazy, especially when I'm trying to do a pressure defense. So,
There are some referees that are starting to get away from that, though.
yeah.
They do make the offensive player really work to get the foul.
I hope so. I hope they are trying to do it. And I don't know what Cullingham is teaching. You know, he's the referee, U.S. water polo head guy. I don't know if he's teaching that, but I've talked to him about it because I did some clinics with him. He did the referee part, I did the coach's part, and we have talked about it. And I think he understands that that is
Yeah.
not a foul.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And I didn't see too much of that at NC2As for women this year, although there's still a few calls made that way, you know. We won't even talk about the last call. The other one that gets me is the last person down the pool, and they kick the defender out, the defender's behind, like, you know, and they kick you out. and this happened in that game, that Stanford UCLA game, the women's game. There were everybody taking off down the pool. The last minute of the game, tie score. And the referees are told, I know they're told this, because I was an evaluator for a while for the NPSF. They said, that backcourt foul, you don't call it unless it's just really obvious, you know? And so here they're swimming down the pool. There's 10 people ahead of them swimming down the pool. These are the last two back there, and one person is behind the other one, and the person in front just kind of did a little fake, you know, and this person's still moving the arm, and they call a kick out. So that's what led to the 6-on-5 at the end of that game, where the controversial, where they give a timeout, where they give a 5 meter.
What constitutes possession?
Yeah, right. It's crazy. So, but that, I know a referee that was there, was one of the top referees there, was at the game and said that he actually thought that the kick out in the backcourt was a worse call than the 5 meter in the front.
That actually happened in the men's championship when UOP played USC a couple years back.
Yeah.
They played the whole game, and then they kicked out the Serbian.
Well, you know,
backcourt kick out.
It happened in the Olympics with Coach Adam Krikorian as the women's coach, but that was a completely different situation. They were on defense. The score was they were leading by a goal. The U.S. was, and the shot was taken, and I think it hit the bar or the goalie blocked it. It landed in the water. Nobody had possession, and Adam called the timeout, and so they got a penalty shot for that. I understand that, but this situation that happened at Stanford was just really ridiculous.
Well, and the thing you hear on the backcourt exclusions, well, coach, we have to reward the position. That's what I get told. Sorry, your player was in a bad position. Yeah, I get that, but
You know,
Where's that call at 2 meters though? That's
Yeah.
that's a whole set of different rules.
you know,
out there.
this is their call. The second, the standard call they make in the perimeter, but I'm following somebody down the pool and I'm swimming, you know, and they say, and they'll call, kick me out. My hands are moving, I'm swimming, and I go to the referee and I say, have you ever tried to pull somebody back, you know, while they're swimming in front of you like that? Have you ever tried to grab their leg and pull them back, or grab their suit and pull them back? First of all, the hand has to be underwater. You have to really get hold of something. It's almost impossible to grab their leg. So you have to grab the suit, and it has to be, it's fairly obvious. But the fact that I'm swimming like this, there's no way I'm gonna be able to pull them back. It has to be a pullback.
there's no subtle pullback
Yeah,
from
yeah.
behind like that.
And I said, how can you make that call? And it's just almost, again, an automatic call where the person in front automatically gets the, if you get front position, you get it. You get the kick out.
Rewards position.
Yeah, reward position, just what you said. Yeah, drives me crazy.
That call happens less if you give them their checks.
And then I get in front of the goal and I've got the person beat. Here's the goal. I'm facing the goal. There's somebody behind me like this, and they throw me the ball, and I go up like that to get the ball and throw it in. They call me for pushing off. My back is turned to the defender. I've beaten the defender. The defender has terrible position behind me. The referee just bailed out the defenders. I pushed off. Well, how I can do that? I'm sitting like this and I can go up for the ball. How I can do that and push away?
Hey, if the
Or
defender's in that
there's a
bad
big
position, you deserve
Or
it.
if it's inside water, and the guy's pull it back, and your guy reaches like this towards the ball, and the ref doesn't call anything, so you have your hand on top of the ball, even though the defender's yanking you back in that inside position.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm not saying water polo's not an easy sport to referee, but it's still, there are certain things that just.
Well, maybe you should just call what you see.
Yeah,
How about that?
there you go.
Start with that.
But you know, the problem is all the stuff that goes on underwater, and some people are so good at faking. The Italians are so good. I watched some Italian 10-year-olds playing one time in a pool, and these little 10-year-old kids are going down the pool, swimming next to somebody, and they get in front of them, and they're drawing. And these Italian 10-year-old kids are doing this beautiful faking job, you know. I think they're born to be able to do that or something.
Yeah. It's cultural.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing, yeah. Okay, let's see if I got anything else on the counterattack. Yeah, so then, you know, you got that rule at the end of your counter. Again, it's just like we talked about. If you clear out, If they're pressing, you drive. If they're playing a zone, you throw a cross pass. I mean, it really is that
So
simple.
your second line counter is, although it's still part of the counter,
Yeah.
it really is to get you into your offense more than your defense.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, because it seems like if you didn't score the first line counter, what the second line counter is doing
Yeah,
is
they're-
going right into the perimeter.
That's their job, yeah.
So,
And this is what we call flow. You're flowing from the transition, you're flowing into the front court, and there is no break. It's just, you hit them right away like that, and that quick strike is what, and they're not, and most teams will swim down the pool, and okay, set it up, and run, 2-meter man going there, wait for the 2-meter man to get set, and nothing happens for about 20 seconds, so. But I think that quick strike really works. It also works on the extra man. There's a lot of places you can use it, so. I think the concept of reacting to the shot, not reacting to the missed shot, is really an important one that you really got to teach your kids. They have, and again, you have to encourage this. You have to encourage them to go on anything, and you have to stress the importance of don't worry about the rebound, don't worry about if the ball goes in, don't worry about if the ball goes out of bounds, anything. That you have to have that first reaction immediately, and all 6 people have got to react. You want a 6-person counterattack.
So you're basically changing the culture of everything. So
Yeah.
even though the strategy's good, the change of the culture eats strategy for breakfast, I guess.
Yeah.
And once you do that, then the strategy can then take its
Oh, sure.
course.
Yeah, and again, you're changing the culture, and then they're able to create within that culture. You give them the freedom to do what they want.
Seems like it'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it is a lot more fun.
I feel like I'd much rather play this. than-
And this is the basis of the run-and-gun basketball system, is the basis of the Chip Kelly Oregon football system. It's a similar philosophy, and this is just water polo, So, I mean, I've stolen a lot of stuff from them, and then also trying to create movement the way we used to with drives. And I've always had a counterattack philosophy ever since I started coaching, really.
So if a team was running this fully, I mean, just a standard team, everybody knows what they're about, it's not like a developmental team. But if they were running this, how many goals would you expect this to generate a game? If they were running it well?
Yeah, it's really hard to say how many, but you should.
I mean, you feel that it would move the goals up from
Yeah.
7 to 10 up more towards what, 15 to 20?
I would say in the women's game, it would generate a lot more goals.
Okay.
Men's game, you probably get more also, but I don't know, how many.
Yeah.
But a lot of women's games are. If you look at the NCAAs, how many games where everybody's scored under 10 goals?
Yeah.
Very few games where they're more than 10, except maybe SC played Pomona or something like
Yeah.
that. And they beat them 14-3 or something like that. But most of the games were under. The championship game was 7-6, I think, was the final score. So, but I believe in women's game that this would create many more goals.
Do you feel you would
I think
give
it
up
would create
more
more goals in the men's game because you're going to be shooting more, and the more chances you get. And the thing is, if you're clearing out that space in front of the goal, you're going to get more chances to score. Your chance of scoring is high. Just like in Australia, they've gone to 30-40% conversion on 6-on-5 to 60-70%. There's goals right there, just by eliminating 2 people that are in the way in front of the goal. So opening that, to me, movement is a key concept, but that opening up the space in front of the goal is the second most, if not the most important concept of this whole system. Is you got to have room to do stuff, and that's our problem with water polo now. There's not room in front of the goal to drive. There's not room to shoot the ball. Maybe tomorrow I'll bring my computer and show you the picture of the 6-on-5. I mean, it's just, here's the guy out here holding the ball, and I swear there's 7 people. I counted 7 people in front between the posts. And you got to shoot the ball through all that. So it's absolutely crazy.
Do you think a team running this system would give up more goals? At least at the beginning?
Yeah, there are times you're going to give up goals because you're taking some chances.
Sure.
Like that defense when you take off early, you're taking chances. You're taking a chance playing in the passing lane or debating the passing lane. You're taking a chance by sometimes shooting early.
Yeah, the quick strike.
The quick strike, you're shooting early. So you're taking some chances there. And again, the whole philosophy of what he said with Don Stoll is that you're gonna score more in the other direction than they are by you taking a chance in one direction. So, and the whole thing that is great is it's fun to watch and fun to play. You know, and to me, it makes it a more attractive game, because really our sport's in trouble. It really is in trouble. Those games in that league, the National League, those are just awful to watch. Just awful. You know.
You mean the 12-man wrestling matches?
Yeah, yeah. The only games I get excited about might be a game between two rivals, like maybe SC plays UCLA in the man or the women. It's a close game, and just the fact that it's a close game makes it exciting, but it's still not played that well. I mean, the championship game, Stanford and UCLA in the women's championship they just had, you know, it was an exciting game because it was close the whole way. It was 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 4-4, you know, all the way through. But there wasn't that much scoring, and it was exciting because it was close, you know. But I went back and replayed the tape, and I wrote down some things along the way on the turnovers and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't that well of a played game. It wasn't that much fun to watch. The fun, like I said, was the fact that it was close, you know. And if you have to rely on that, then to make your game exciting, then you're in trouble, I think. Yeah.
Well, on the men's side especially, it seems like the excitement in the game, or the things that are really interesting or inspiring in the game, are small sequences of individual brilliance.
Yeah.
It's not a team-oriented game where
Right.
on the women's side you have a little bit less of that, but on the men's side, just because of what a lot of these guys are physically capable of doing, it's I'm just going to take you one-on-one and do my work and put the ball away, and that can be really it looks cool, but it's not. It's not as I understand. I mean, that small bit of excitement in a close game isn't nearly the same as a team tactic and strategy. I mean, I like NBA basketball a lot.
That brilliant move is usually a brilliant shot.
Yeah, an outside shot.
And it's usually a vertical outside shot, and the guy, I mean, there's arms all over the place, and he just makes just a fantastic shot. When it goes over the goalie's head or something, you know, or it goes down underneath all those arms, and he's, God, what a great shot.
Out to his suit, leaning over, wrapping, skipping.
It's a great shot. You know, that's what's exciting.
Individual brilliance.
But individual, but there's no movement involved. You know, it's leading up to that shot. It was just passing the ball. You pass to me, I pass to you. We pass the ball back and forth, and then I take this brilliant shot. All right. Yeah.
Well, I think that shot's exciting to somebody who knows water polo.
Yeah.
But if you've never seen water polo before, a guy's sitting with the ball for 5 or 10 seconds doing this, and then taking a shot, even though you know, okay, that must be a good shot because it went in.
Yeah.
You don't comprehend it as well as if you have something like you're talking about where there's a pressure pass and a drive and a screen and somebody's freed up and catch and shoot. I mean, there's 4 or 5 guys involved in the play that create a goal rather than, hey, I'm just really good at throwing the ball hard.
You know, this is part of my philosophy when if you're playing against the zone, is I will not let my players fake the ball, and I won't let them wave the ball. I won't let them move forward with it. I want them to move the ball. Because, and I used to do this too. I say, okay, catch the ball, set the goalie, and if nobody comes out to get you, move in, wave the ball, you know, do 2 or 3 fakes, and then pass it. Okay, so you've just given the goalie a chance to stop, set on you, get ready for the shot if you do decide to shoot it. And invariably people will do that. 2, 3, 4 fakes, and then they'll shoot the ball. It gets blocked, or the goalie gets it, you know. So
I just want to give the defense a fair chance.
yes, I want that ball moving. I want the ball moving. I don't want you to stop and fake. And then when you do decide you're going to shoot, it's a catch and shoot.
Yeah,
It's not catch, fake, and then shoot. It's a catch and shoot, and you beat the defense that way and everything. So
A mediocre quick beats a goalie almost every time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a great shot.
yeah. So if you catch it right away against the zone, the defender doesn't have a chance to get the arm up. The goalie isn't ready. The goalie's still moving. You know, the goalie's moving, and then especially if they are moving, if you catch and you shoot to the opposite side, in the opposite direction the goalie is moving, that's very effective too. But the catch and shoot is a skill that's a very important skill in zones. It really is.
Well, if you're going to run all the screening you've talked about, I mean, there's going to be a lot of instances, especially out in those low wings, where you're going to come around that screen and the shot that's going to be available is a catch and shoot.
You're not going to have time to.
Yeah, you're not going to. I mean, because when you were up here, when they drop back, that's gonna be a catch and shoot
Yeah.
10 times out of 10 if you're.
But it's only there for 1 or 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And you know, also the thing that I think that this does right here is the fact that it involves everybody, and team sports are won by the teams, not by individuals.
yeah.
And so then now everybody else feels like they have a more of a vital role, because you're changing the culture of what it is, and they all have something that they can do, that be a part of potentially scoring. And even if you basically suck as a shooter, if you shoot from the 3-yard line, you're not such a bad shooter
That's,
anymore.
that's a very important concept, that everybody gets involved. You know, the extreme of that is this, it's called the system, the basketball system. And it was started by Paul Westphal at LMU, but it was a run and, we used to call it run and gun, and now they call it the system. And the extreme is you have 5 players, they start the game, they go up and down the court 4 or 5 times. Every 2 minutes, they switch 5 for 5. Every 5 fresh guys in, 5 out, 2 minutes, 5 guys in, 5 guys out. And that's the real, talk about
If you're ever
everybody
trying
getting
to do
involved. You
water
got-
polo, if you have the bodies to do it,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
Well,
Kids love it.
I talked to Adam Krikorian about this. I said, Adam, because he still wants to run some 2 meter.
Sure.
I said, how about if he's got 13 really good players, right? So how about if you have 6 players and they'll run the 2 meter offense, and then let them run it for 2 or 3 minutes, and then put in your fast swimmers, your good counterattack
Quick
people,
change.
and your good drivers, and put them in for 2 or 3 minutes, and they don't have a 2 meter man at all. So you're going from a 2 meter game to a driving game, movement game, and then back to a 2 meter game and going back and forth. And that's another thing this does, is it gives you a different way to play. You can still play 2 meters, but at least it'll give you 2 ways to play instead of just 1. And again, I always use the example of football. If you just ran the ball up the middle of the line every single time you have the ball, that'd be boring as hell. And the other team could adjust to it, you know? But if you're running around the end, or you're throwing the ball, you're doing all these different plays, different movements, it's a more fun game to watch. And it's just not one way to play the game. We really are stuck in a one way to play the game in water polo. We really, we pretty much do the same thing. Everybody does pretty much the same thing, so.
That's what
And I blame Branko Rudic for this, so in fact, my next article that I write, it's gonna be about the Branko Rudic paradox, which he's won all these championships, but was he really good for water polo? So I'm gonna, because this kind of game that they're playing, it's suited to great big people, and it's boring. I mean, it won a gold medal, he won many gold medals, they won 3 gold
But a
medals.
game being suited to big people doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a bad game. I mean, basketball is suited to really tall people,
Sure.
but there's still the element of skill and everything, because the difference is, basketball said, yeah, it's not good for this sport to just have somebody standing there taking
Yeah,
up
exactly.
space. I think that's the difference.
By the way, in basketball, they are going more to small lineups.
Yeah.
They're getting away from the real big game. The Warriors are really doing that.
That's what LeBron James did to win his championships.
Yeah, they ran-
That's what they kind of figured
Yeah,
out.
and so here's basketball, you got all these big 7-footers, and they're going, and the Warriors, they'll put 6 guys in there, or 5 guys in there that are smaller, and they'll run circles around the big guys, The big guys, for defense, maybe for rebounds, you need some big players, I guess, for a rebound, but.
Well, the Rockets' way to do it, where they put Dwight Howard in and basically surround him with 3-point shooters.
Yeah,
So there's still a guy in there who can defend the paint and get the rebounds you need and stuff, and every other person on the floor is a guard, or at best,
Yeah.
a shooting guard that's, a small forward that's playing shooting guard, it's.
but you gotta be able to do everything
Yeah.
in the NBA. You can't just play a one-dimensional game, and that's what the Warriors are doing. They can play inside, they can drive, they can shoot from outside, and, you get 3 points, when you shoot outside the circle. Man, 3 points is a pretty good deal, I mean, were you guys around when we had the 2-point shot in water polo?
Yes.
Yeah, we won some games on that, and we lost the national championship to SC on a 2-point shot. Yeah, in overtime, in the dark at Corona Del Mar High School, on a 6-on-5. And their guy was out, it was 7 meters back then.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, and he was out on a 6-on-5, our goalie didn't even see the ball coming. The lighting there was really terrible. It was late, it was like 9:30, something like that, it's pretty late at night, dark, and windy and cold, and we were leading by a goal. This is the second overtime, and they got a 6-on-5, and they set up a 6-on-5, and they're the 5th position. He was outside 7 meters, and he got the ball passed from 6 and he shot the ball and scored. We went from 1 goal losing to they won by a goal. There was only about a minute left, maybe even less than that left in the game, so that shot us up. That was SC's first national championship. When,
On a 2-point shot.
On a
For the
2-point
what,
shot, yeah.
3 or 4 years, I think it was, they actually had
yeah, we
it?
did it for, I think about 3 or 4 years,
Yeah.
something like that. It was, it was amazing. You'd be, if you were leading by a goal and the other team, no, you were leading by 2 goals, and the other team got a 6-on-5, you would guard everybody outside 7 meters. You would let them score
Yeah,
one.
take the one.
Yeah, let them have a goal in front of the goal. And you just press everybody outside, and some teams were putting all 6 players outside 7. And so you had to pretty much, but you only had 5, so you had to go out there and kind of, but you wouldn't let them have that 2-point shot at the tie of the game. So.
That's kind of like at the end of games when they press everybody on 3-point lines and we'll let you take the layup.
Yeah.
Just don't shoot 3 type deal.
Exactly. Well, tomorrow we'll start at 8:30 again. I'm gonna go over some, defense, 6-on-5, and then go over some coaching stuff. I've already gone over some, how to set up like this drill here, this, one-way counter drill. And just some general things, some conditioning stuff. And, conditioning, I've studied that for many years. I've done a lot of research. My degree is in exercise physiology, and I figured out long ago that you gotta, if you wanna go fast in a water polo game for 20 meters, you gotta do a lot of 20-meter fast sprints in practice too. And all this extra swimming we do is pretty much a waste of time. So we'll go over that too. And but anyway, that's what we have in store for tomorrow. So thank you guys.
Thank you.